Story began by introducing a young widow named Sarah who lived in a small town with her father, Calvin, and her only son, Henry. It was known that her husband died when Henry was still in the womb, but, despite this difficult situation, she never complained, and she raised Henry with great love. Then, to meet their daily needs, Sarah and her father managed a family farm that had supported them for generations. One afternoon, when Henry was about to close the chicken coop, he was surprised by the appearance of a strange man standing behind the door.
Mom?
Because he was afraid, he quickly ran home and told his mother that there was a thief in the chicken coop. Upon hearing that, without thinking twice, Sarah quickly took her gun and went to the coop to confront the thief. However, when she saw the man, she was surprised by his appearance, as the man was dressed strangely, had long hair with a thick beard, and looked more like a beggar than a thief. What was even more surprising was that when she shone a light on him, the man looked terrified and thought that she was a witch.
Please do not shoot me, witch.
He even thought that she was a man because she was wearing trousers instead of a dress, which clearly confused her. When Sarah saw the wound on the man's head, she suspected that this person had just been hit by a hard object and lost his memory before getting lost on their property. So, out of pity, she brought him food and treated the wound on his forehead, which showed her kindness. After that, the man apologized for entering the property without permission and then introduced himself as Rip Van Winkle. He admitted that he did not remember where he came from or where he was going. However, he mentioned that when he arrived in this village, everyone looked familiar, and he thought this place was his home. Upon hearing Rip's story, Calvin suspected that perhaps Rip was the son of the Harrison family of the village, who had been reported missing while serving in the military several years ago, especially because their physical characteristics and ages were very similar to each other. Unexpectedly, Rip admitted that he had indeed served in the military, but he did not specify exactly where he had fought. Not long after that, a local sheriff named Ted arrived at the farm after Sarah previously contacted him to help identify the strange man in her house. It was revealed that Ted actually had feelings for Sarah for a long time, and that was why he was so quick to arrive when she needed his help. After Ted heard the story, he decided to take Rip to the office to have his fingerprints taken and then look him up in the police database. However, when Rip was about to be taken to the office, he was shocked to see a carriage that could run without a horse, referring to Ted's sheriff's car. This reaction caused Sarah and Ted to exchange glances in confusion. Once they arrived at the police station, Ted immediately began the identification process. However, it was very strange because no data for Rip was found in the national database. Therefore, he tried to send a photo to the military headquarters in case they could identify the man. After that, he took Rip to the hospital to check on his head injury, but strangely, the doctor did not find any signs of a concussion or any other trauma. Physically, Rip was completely healthy, but he continued to act in a very odd way. It was as if it were the first time he had ever seen sophisticated equipment in a hospital. Not long after, because there were no further instructions, Ted eventually left Rip in the hospital for his own safety and for further observation. In the middle of the night, Rip dreamed of seeing a small child with an old man, and then he woke up because his dream suddenly moved to a battlefield. The next morning, Rip left the hospital without the doctor's knowledge and returned to Sarah's farm. He admitted to Sarah that he could not rest in such a foreign place, especially when he felt like a prisoner of war because officers in white uniforms came in to check on him every 2 hours. He also explained that one of the reasons he came back was because he had forgotten to say thank you for the food Sarah gave him the other night. Seeing his polite behavior and his way of speaking, Sarah believed that Rip was not a bad person, so she decided to give him food and let him stay on the farm for a while.